What's going on, everybody? It is Chris Classic with a Take It Home podcast. If you have not, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, to subscribe to the Take It Home podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the C3 Ultimate Wrestling YouTube channel. Also, make sure you check out the website www.c3ultimatewrestling.com. Happy Easter weekend to a lot of you guys. He has risen. Do not forget that. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. Before I go on, I have to promote. So without further ado, do not forget June 18th, Kingdom Come. June 18th, Kingdom Come, Gene Shepherd Community Center, Hammond, Indiana. Doors open at 12:30. Showtime at 1 o'clock. $10 for adults, $5 for kids. You can also purchase tickets through PayPal. I have the links on the event page on Facebook. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you check out my latest match that happened on April 9th. It was a very good match. If you can stomach the PlayStation 1 quality graphics of the recording, it is something very good. So, I hope you guys are hearing me okay. What's going on, Robert Brown? Good to hear from you. Good to see you, Shy Guy. For the guys that are on Facebook, you guys know the drill. Just comment on there, and then I'll be on that as well. Let's go into the topic. Move my microphone. All right. Like I said, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. You guys want me to hear that. Okay. The topic is how and why it is very important to invest in the character you portray. Now, if we're talking about, let's say WWE, for example, if we're going off of WWE, right? There's a lot of wacky and kooky characters that are on WWE. Some will make it, some will not. But sometimes you stand out by how you play that character. I think sometimes not even just in WWE or AEW or any company. If you dedicate yourself to a character, regardless if you like it or not, I do think that you may go far in this business. It depends on how far you want to go and where you want to go as well. Like I said, for example, when we have, I know the quality is bad. So we look at Baron Corbin, right? This was like, this is like a cut picture that I had to use. So we look at Baron Corbin. So regardless of how we feel about the guy, I can tell you that with each character that he played, he gave his all to it. It doesn't matter if he liked the character. I don't know his personal feelings on some of the characters, but he is one of those guys that he wears a lot of hats with the character that he plays. And it's something that sticks out to me from him is that because I was a big fan of a majority of these characters, right? So with Baron, right? He was the lone wolf in NXT, and they used to say that he was a Golden Gloves boxer and stuff like that, and he was intimidating, and he was also defeating people within seconds, or he would just do the end of days. Very protected move. Still protected just because one person kicked out. That's another topic. But I always thought that he did good for the character that he was, in each character. And then when he cut his hair, and he was still the lone wolf for a little bit, and then he went into at first Baron had trouble talking. Like it felt like he was very unbelievable on the microphone as the lone wolf. Like it was like less is more when he talked, right? So with that, he developed into different characters, and he became a mouthpiece. And then he also became very annoying, which he was supposed to do because that was the character that he was. He was a heel. And I think that a lot of people get upset with certain people that they don't like. And it's like you're falling for what they're aiming for, if you get what I'm saying. This is what they're trying to do. You may be sick of him, but you cannot tell me that each character that this man portrayed, he was not doing his job at all. This guy I would say gave a 100% on each character that he played. So when he went to Constable Corbin, aka Applebee's manager Corbin, because he used to wear the black shirt with the vest all the time, he portrayed that. He was arrogant, he was a stooge, he was taking moves, he was irritating, he was doing what he was supposed to do, even with antagonizing Braun Strowman at the time, especially when Braun Strowman was beefing with Brock Lesnar, you know. And I feel that Corbin did a great job. And then when he won the King of the Ring, he did great as well as King Corbin. Uh, the royalty thing, the crown, and everything like that. Like you, trust me, there are a lot of characters that you see on TV or that you see online. People hate playing, but it's their bread and butter. And like I said, I can't tell because it looks like he's enjoying himself. If he is, shout out to him. If not, hey, you're doing a great job. And then bum Corbin, the bum ass Corbin, if you want to call him that. And he was poor. He lost his money, lost his family, couldn't get into wrestling, was asking for money and stuff like that. And he played into it or whatever like that. And I used to read comments, oh, this is horrible. Look at this, you know, or they already don't like him, so they're like, release him. He's going to be a guy that WWE is going to release. He's going to be on the future endeavor list. Like there were so many people that were betting money on that. They were like, okay, all of these people that they're releasing, like, look at what they're doing to this guy. They're embarrassing this guy. But then he turns around, they give him Happy Corbin, and then he was undefeated. He had an undefeated streak. And then he had, at the time, Madcap Moss, who was Riddick Moss, which was another guy that a lot of people felt that was on the chopping block. If you remember him, he used to team with Tino Sabatelli. I believe I'm saying his name correct. I do not know. Like I said, I do pay attention sometimes. I know Tino got released, and then they brought him back, and then they released him as well. But going off of that, now he's by himself, and most likely will help Madcap become a star. Now, when I say with Corbin, Corbin is dedicated to each character that he plays, and I feel that that's something that a lot of people really should acknowledge when you think about him. Acknowledge him. Now, you know, I think that you know, with WWE and maybe even AEW, like they want you to play a certain character. You have to be a certain character for a certain reason. Some of it is to make you a star. Some of it is to test you and stuff like that. On the independent scene, it is very different because most of the time we decide what we want to do as performers, as entertainers, as wrestlers, as whatever name you want to be. I don't want to offend nobody today. I don't want no smoke today. I'm just feeling. I'm just going off of I'm just going off the topic. So you got to realize, all right, what's going on, Alice? I hope everything is going all right. No, he's a company guy. All those gimmicks sucked, and he still has a job. Okay, and like I said, if the gimmick might have sucked, or you may feel like it has sucked, but like I said, he does what he's supposed to do. I mean, it's not the best things. And, you know, sometimes you'll get the worst character and it works. The good worker can't call him great by any stretch. Okay. All right, I got you. I'm a backdoor with that too. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm giving him more compliments on what he portrays and stuff like that. I do like his finisher. I do like the deep six or whatever like that. I do like that. I don't want to say he has like a big range in his move set, but as far as whatever they tell him to do, like you said, he's a company guy, and you know, like I said, a lot of people would have put money on him being released, but he has not because he, like you said, he's a company guy, and I think that he has done a great job with what they give him. You know, who knows what they're going to do, especially with him and Madcap Moss. You know, it could be something where they treat Madcap special or try to do something with them, or it could be something like the Alex Riley and the Miz situation, where a lot of people were going to assume that Alex Riley was like going to be like the next big thing, but then there were rumors of him and John Cena falling out or whatever like that. I'm not going to like subscribe to that exactly. Can you guys hear me clear? Just making sure. I said they had. I'm having technical difficulties, or maybe We'll wait until I started late. But anyway, yeah, with characters, it's sometimes that'll be more what people remember more than the actual moves that you do. And sometimes that's like even on WWE standard because it's more of a character than the actual wrestling. So like when you do watch AEW, you do see like more wrestling and you do see like more people doing shoot fighting and everything, and then you'll see blood and then you'll see a whole bunch of things. You'll see more wrestling on AEW's platform, and sometimes they have a character and sometimes they do not. Because sometimes a character can also be an extension of who you are. But you do have some guys that take a. I don't trust too many company guys because historically, yeah, yeah, he's definitely not somebody like if I was ever signed. Not to say I want to be, I probably wouldn't like talk to him about certain things. You know, I don't know him. You know, I don't like to just do that. But usually with company guys, especially with that company, and we kind of touched on that. I believe last week when I went live. Yeah, it's something. It's something you just got to be careful of. But then again, you got to be careful with almost anybody that's in the business because some people will step on toes and they'll do anything crazy just to get ahead or to get a title or to solidify themselves, if you will. But going back into characters and stuff like that, you know, sometimes people remember the characters than they remember the moves. Now, with Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression, most of the time we remember everything. Like, and I can bring up The Rock, correct, for example, right? And it's like a lot of people are like, man, he was good as The Rock and the Nation, and he had pizzazz and stuff like that. But you know, a lot of us know that wasn't what he originally started as. And what he did start as was, you know, a tribute to his father and his grandfather. And the world, the world didn't really, the world. Well, I don't want to say the world. The fans, as you see to the left, he was Rocky Maivia. His finisher was the running shoulder breaker. I thought that was pretty nice. I thought his float over DDT was nice, and even when he transitioned to The Rock, I thought it was pretty good too. But a lot of people, they didn't really care about Rocky Maivia. They didn't really care about his family ties or anything like that. And a lot of people, they just didn't want to see it. They just didn't care for it. And so then when he did the things with the Nation, and then they gave him, he started talking and stuff like that, and started talking to these guys. A lot of people started to like them. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have a lot of people who are like a heel or a bad guy or whatever like that. Sometimes people do draw towards them, and they also like them and stuff like that. So kudos to him for doing that. Kudos to Stone Cold for doing that. Kudos to Scott Hall, rest in peace, for also doing that. For saying that it's good to be a bad guy. And you can tell that some of the stuff that he said was a little bit of his personality. And then then you look at the shirts he had, the hot top fade and stuff like that. Now, I've talked about the video. Now, I've talked about it many times about why many people of color don't consider him a black champion. So I'm not going to go into that again. But when he hit the Nation, and after that, it was just like a lot of people loved him, and a lot of people wanted to see him, and a lot of people were like big fans and stuff like that. My favorite version of The Rock was the Hollywood version because it kind of was like what a lot of people were upset about, but at the same time, I didn't really. I thought that was the most entertaining. True that, but when you got guys like New Day who everyone loves, some characters are given to us, just get them in here to overcome. Characters like Rocky, Stardust, Happy Corbin. Yep, and I was just going to say that, Alice. I was just going to bring up Stardust. Like, regardless of how people feel about Cody, because a lot of things are going on, as you guys are hearing my kids running upstairs. Cody gives his all to every character that he had. And I wish I had like a clip or whatever, but I don't want to like take up your time searching and typing and everything like that. You guys got to think, right? I think the worst character he had was when he first started because he didn't have nothing besides just being part of Legacy with Ted DiBiase Jr. and Randy Orton and one of Snooker's son who didn't last long. I forgot his name. And as Atlas says, sometimes they catch on, sometimes they get fired. Yes, sometimes the characters that they have, it's kooky. And sometimes they want to see if you can do something with it. And sometimes it is an embarrassing thing. Sometimes it is a way to embarrass them because we know WWE's sticky track history on doing certain things. And yeah, with the firing part, yeah, that's also a thing as well. You know, I do recall Peyton Royce. I forgot it was a Cassie Lee now in Impact or whatever. You know, Vince was literally trying to give her something, and then like he asked her what did she like to do, and she said she liked to stay at home with her dog. And Vince said bet, and unfortunately released her because that was her input. That's what she said she liked to do, and he granted that. Going back to Stardust and Cody Rhodes. Um, when he got the mustache and he was with Damian Sandow, he gave it in. He gave it on his all. Before that, when he was dashing Cody Rhodes, showing people how to floss and brush their teeth and pouty lips and all of that stuff. Like it was annoying, but at the same time, it was entertaining to me because I thought it was funny because not a lot of people were doing something like that. And the dashing thing. Now, my favorite was undashing when I believe he broke his nose with Rey Mysterio, and they turned that to the storyline. And they turned it into the storyline. He was undashing, and he was giving fans, and he had a servant that was giving fans paper bags to put over their head. He had the face mask to protect his nose. He also he defeated Ezekiel Jackson, and he won the Intercontinental title. And he tried his best to add prestige to that title. His promos were chilling when he was talking about the title because he would talk about how it was a mockery with Santino and it was a mockery with certain things. And you would believe that. You would be like, okay, well, he's going to have the belt for a long time. Then he winds up feuding with Big Show, I believe. And then it was something, it was a little back and forth with that. And he got it back. I forgot who he lost it to, but he tried to do something with it. And then Stardust. Stardust, I like as well because obviously it was a tribute to what his nickname was and also to his brother. And then how they were incorporating Dusty, their father, into it. And even how Goldust was like, hey, this isn't you. You need to be something else. And it was just the way he just gave himself into that character. It was just something that stuck with me that I liked. And I remember a video, an exclusive video. There was a kid, his favorite wrestler was Stardust. Like he loved Stardust. And that just says something right there. And I'm sure it warmed his heart as a performer. Now with everything of him leaving and stuff like that, being the American Nightmare and stuff like that, like it's an extension of himself because what he says is very believable. Some stuff is laughable, like the promo with his he was talking about his black and white daughter, but it was laughable, but he tried. Atlas says, Cody is an example of how you get over and spot your gimmick. Sandow is an example of being punished for getting over without permission. I agree. And that is also an interesting thing as well, because Rusev, aka Miro, went through the same thing. Now, I can also say he possibly got more in trouble because he destroyed the storyline when he said he was engaged to CJ Perry, aka Lana, because they were doing a stupid storyline with Summer Rae and Dolph Ziggler and stuff like that. So I do feel like they did punish him for that. And then even with like Rusev Day, it got so over. I mean, I bought a shirt for my partner because we used to make fun of it, and it was a good thing. And I do feel like Rusev should have been treated better in that company. But I am glad that he has found something else to do with AEW, and I cannot wait for his return. Shy Guy says Chavo is Kerwin. Yeah, that was crazy. Shane Douglas is Dean Douglas. Yeah, it's like some people can pull it off, and sometimes people cannot pull it off, and sometimes people do not have the desire to pull it off. because some people already know that it is a sign that they may get out the door. It's a sign that they may be out soon if they cannot do this character. So I'm reading on Facebook. No comments. So everything is off twist. Appreciate everything that you guys are saying. Like I said, I'm still trying to get used to this thing. But going back to it, yeah, sometimes people get the worst character and they make it the best. You know, like the Rusev Day thing, like the way that the fans loved it and went off for it and even had a Happy Lana Day shirt. Like that was something in itself. Zack Ryder is also a good example, who is now known as Matt Cardona. Terry, I was going to bring him up. I promise you I was going to bring Terry. I was going to bring him up. I promise I was going to bring him up. But Zack Ryder is also a good example because what he was, it was also the Long Island IZ was a reflection of himself, and he got himself over. It wasn't WWE that per se got him over. It was him because of the character that he was portraying, the character who he was, the YouTube channel that he got. And it was to the point to where The Rock was speaking to the crowd, and the crowd was saying, "We want Ryder, woo, woo, woo. We want Ryder, woo, woo, woo." And The Rock had to acknowledge that these people were calling Zack Ryder. And I'm not knocking Zack Ryder because it's very difficult to beat the system and still be over to the fact that a Hall of Famer is saying something and they want to see you because you're the hometown hero, or they just want to see you. And you know, you thought that WWE would like take advantage. Well, they took advantage. Let me not say that. They didn't capitalize. They took advantage. And they did a bad thing by taking over his YouTube channel that got him the bread and butter, that got him famous, more popular and everything like that outside of wrestling. They took that away from him. And then the horrible storyline with Kane, Eva Marie, and John Cena, they gave him the United States title. And at first, everybody was happy with it. And I believe he lost it to Jack Swagger and stuff like that. Like this guy worked so hard for that. So now you see him released and have a lot of these titles and stuff like that. And you do see that he has a chip on his shoulder because of the situation, because of what WWE has also done to him and said to him and stuff like that, because he really was trying to do something. Hollywood Rock was perfect. Yes, Sam. Hollywood Rock was my favorite version of The Rock, especially because a lot of people felt that way when he came back. The IC belt for one day. Yeah. So a lot of people felt that I felt The Rock because how he played with that character and just the music. I thought that was the best version of his theme and everything. The way he got to Toronto and got under their skin while they were laughing and booing at the same time was always something. Because you know, people started booing him because the feelings were hurt. And some people were just upset that he left WWE to do Hollywood and stuff like that. You know, these are the kind of things that happen, and I believe that, like, you know, more stars are going to do that. But Terry Taylor, he had a thing. It's somebody else that I was thinking about as well. I think that was not his name. Give me 1 second. But going in, as far as characters are, like, especially like I would say with like WWE, it seems like with AEW, they'll be like, well, what do you want to do? And maybe they'll have some people that'll help you, or maybe they'll see, okay, well, maybe you'll develop something on your own. When Britt Baker came in, she didn't. I don't want to say she didn't find herself, or whatever like that. But now with the DMD, because she's an actual dentist and stuff like that, it worked out. The tooth and nail match did not work out, but it worked out to be snobby and how to have the glove, and then also have Jamie Hayter and is it Reba? Yes, Reba. To have her and stuff like that, and it's just like, okay, she does a great job, and it's to the point to where AW the fans like her and they give her great feedback. Now, I did not like as her being here. I did not like that she did go online after her cage match with Thunder Rosa, and she was saying like, "Oh, well, this did hurt, and this and this and that." I truly hate it. I didn't like that. I was like, "Hey, man, you gotta let that go, man. Like some people gonna say something about you regardless." Especially like if you're the bad person or whatever like that, you know, don't be like, oh well, I just play a character, but look at me for real, I'm really scarred and stuff like that. I didn't like that. I thought that approach could have been different, you know. It could have been a little different from what she said. But going back into it, I wanted to go over some things even on independent. You have a lot of guys like Atlas, and I'm going to keep saying it. You have a lot of guys like him, like C Red, a lot of these veterans that are actually help you with what your character development and stuff like that. I mean, when I was when I was coming up, I'm gonna tell you guys, my first character, I was with my brother-in-law. I don't have any pictures, thank God. I was I was called Chris Classic. You know, people still call me Chris Classic. Whatever. I'll go by Classic Alpha now. And I was Chris Classic. And at the time, my brother-in-law was Ringo Rouge. Then it was Bobby Blue. This dude went through so many names. But we used to call ourselves the Southern Smash Brothers. Now, it was a kind of play off of the Super Smash Brothers and whatnot. But we were being from the South. I was from Texas. And he says he had roots from Louisiana. So we would dress like African Americans that were in the South at the time. Now, in the South, there's a lot of people with gold grills. I didn't have a real gold grill. I had one of those cheap ones, the hair supply store. I had a Party City rope chain. I did have one of those. I had a plaid button-up shirt. Those were big in the South in the early 2000s. And we used to come out to shorts, and we used to come out to Lil Flip. Game over. Alice says he tries to smarten kids up. I hear no complaints from nobody. Excuse me, guys. But we came out as Southerners, as baby faces. We were Southerners and stuff like that. Now, we used to get our butts whooped, though. We didn't really, got no moves in. We got nothing. But whatever character I was at the time, that's what I was dedicated to being. I would look online how to do this and how to do that. At one point, we were going to do the South Side by Little Kiki when we came in. Thank God that we didn't do that. But but we were trying to do a lot of things because these were things that I saw when I was growing up because I moved up to the Midwest in 2007. So I still had some of that Southern swag at the time. I don't know if I still have my accent or not, but I'm glad I never saw that gimmick. I would have roasted you. Okay. It is what it is. I was young. I was young. But somebody said something one time. It was a guy, some leprechaun gimmick. He was like, "Oh, well, you should have stayed in Chikara." And then he had like a horrible match afterwards. But anyway, going back, I'm sorry I'm taking my stuff. That was the first character that I was trying to be. And Atlas, I believe when we were in PPW, that's when I was sort of doing the Macho Man ish thing with the tights that I would always have to sew back together. I'm not saying that I was big, but it was definitely patchwork. And I'm gonna try to show you guys. I'm gonna go through my YouTube page, and I'm gonna show you some of the things that I did have that I did transition. No, it wasn't him. It was like a short guy. I couldn't remember. I don't remember his name. It wasn't A. It wasn't him. Lurking and listening. Shout out Arshawn. I hope everything's all right with you. Uh, but yeah, uh, it was more of the Macho Man thing because I did feel like it wasn't a lot of people outside of Jay Lethal doing this kind of thing, and I was a huge fan of Macho Man. So I was like, oh, okay, well, if I ever found a pair of tights like that, I would definitely wear them and I would wrestle like that. Like I don't want to say a black Macho Man or anything like that, but I would definitely do something like as a tribute to him and also the show as a tribute to myself. Okay. Uh yeah, these are really back down memory lane. These were the first pair. This I don't have a better picture, but this was like the first pair. They were like white. They had fringes in the front or whatever like that. And then also had the black pair, and it was like my finisher. I would also do. It was something called the Southern Classic. I still do it now, but I used to also do the elbow drop, and yeah, it was always something of trying to be similar to like an old school wrestler because you know a lot of these guys were like over the top attitudes and stuff like that. And then one of the things that a lot of people say I needed to work on was intensity. It's like, okay, cool, you're smiling, you're doing all of this stuff, but at the same time, what are you doing like you were still wrestling at the end of the day. I used to do I used to give to the kids like these were like small little zebra print because I rock the zebra print and everything like that. So that was like one of the first things after the Southern Smash Brothers. I did have like some black and white halves Uso shorts. I wore those for a few years or whatever like that. I was supposed to wear it with my tag partner, Ringo Rouge, but I think we wore them like one time. But this was like my main thing for a few years were these tights, and I used to have the red, white, and blue, the blue and white, and the purple and white, and then even then, one time my wife, um, she came out with a matching set because I bought this vest, and I wanted it to be like this is my Miss Elizabeth outside of all the other stuff that happened with Randy and her, I don't want to go into it. Fast forward, I started getting custom gear, excuse me, and me being an old man, still try to do like a jock thing. I never was a jock in high school, by the way, but it was something with the Letterman. I love Letterman jackets, and with the buttons, they were Sonic, like Sega stuff or whatever like that, because the font and stuff. Now I'm changing all of that stuff now, but this was what I was wearing. I was wearing things like this, and with the singlet and everything. The singlet's a little low for me. You can see my heartbeat. I probably should have had a higher cut singlet, but yeah, you can definitely see my heartbeat on this one. But other than that, like these were like the pictures that I was taking and stuff like that. I was trying to do things. I was trying to act like it. I was trying to look like it with a Hebrew Israelite beard. Um, I'm sorry. It's funny because it's just sometimes as a wrestler, you look at like old stuff or you look at what you're trying to portray and you're like, I hope that people follow what it is. So and then we go into classic alpha, which is what I am now. It was hot that day, that's why I sweat. But as classic alpha is a superhero, it's more of an extension of yourself, of myself, and stuff like that to inspire people and to get behind and things like that. I still try to get the aspect of the charismatic and over the top characters and stuff like that with strength and things like that. I'm learning more that I am going out and wrestling that more people I'm taller than a lot of people, so that also a plus with strength and doing certain things and doing different moves. Like it's all an investment into the character. Like I look at a lot of moves now, I don't do things because a lot of people do them, and I want to do something different. A lot of Germans, a lot of spine busters and stuff like that. And it's like I try to move from that. What can I do to make it seem like I'm uber strong and everything like that? So this is what I'm currently at now. I feel like I'm going to stop. No, this is just us playing, but I feel like I'm going to stop here. I think I'm happy with a classic alpha. I think I'm happy with this current run that I'm doing. I don't unless something else happens. But these are the things that like about trying to invest in something. Even when I was the Southern Smash Brother and stuff like that. So yeah, yep, yep, yep. I yep. Atlas knows. Like I yeah, I've been PPW. We've been ever since then or whatever. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, like I said, like that's real bro right there. Hey, your wife was a champion before you were. Big ups to Sensational Shay. Yep, I got the picture. The picture is somewhere. I'm going to have to find it and ask her permission to show it. Um, Matt, yeah, don't tempt me because I'm going to need tips if I ever do that because I'm definitely going to go to you about that. I didn't even mean for people to see that. But anyway, yeah, my wife was the LOW heavyweight champion, and she was the top of the company and stuff like that. And like I said, I feel that she does have a mind for wrestling. It's not her passion, but when she does it, you man, man. And a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you're just saying that because that's your wife." Nah, nah. She about that. the way she thinks of matches and puts things together, it makes you think because she doesn't want to do what everybody wants to do. She wants it to make sense. She wants it to be fun. She wants it to be a performance. And she's a great heel. I'm not saying that because she's mommy, but yeah. Yeah, but I also see, and this is the thing, I hate talking about characters and stuff like that sometimes because it's easy to just be like, you know what, you can watch one TV show, you can watch one movie, you'll be like, you know what, I can emulate that. You know, look at Razor Ramon, let the Scarface and stuff like that. He's just like, oh, we can definitely do something like that, or we can mix that and things like that. Now she cool had a hand in that training too. Alice Strange, you? Yeah. She said probably so. I believe it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Gordon and them was in the group. Yeah, yeah. Gordon, Atlas, and Rion. But going back to it, yeah, I'm not. Give me one second. But going back to it, characters are very important, and a lot of guys who are going to listen to this or see this, a lot of you have seen some of the things that a lot of people say is their character or is part of their character, but it's not. And we're gonna go to a few things. And this isn't shade to nobody that's in the business that's doing this or whatever like that. But these are things that we've seen countless times before. So we're just going to talk about it and we're just going to share. And then even if Atlas or anybody want to like comment something important so they can understand how they can do it, it'll work. I've seen many wrestlers that come in and say like their gimmick is an MMA fighter, or they're not even an MMA fighter. They see that Undertaker, who's supposed to be a dead man, he wears these kind of gloves, and they want to wear these because either they're stiff or they think that it makes them look like a legit fighter and stuff like that. I don't think that many people are going to go up to the Undertaker and say, "Hey, you should take these gloves off." So I've seen people with singlets, boots, and all of that stuff, and then these kind of things throw them off because one, the color schemes don't match, and then the hands aren't even that big to wear these kind of things or whatever like that. And I understand you might want to be a shoot fighter and stuff like that, but come on, you gotta make sure it's right. You have enough people in this business that'll help you with these kind of things instead of just wearing these and then just being like, okay, I'm legit. Like, being legit. Kick pads too. It's just, if you are going to use them, and I do understand most people use kick pads for design more than actual kicking and stuff like that. Like for example, the Miz doesn't really kick with his shins or anything like that, and it's just like a design and stuff like that. But you see a lot of guys, they'll have these kind of things. They'll also have, and then they don't know how to punch. See, and that's the thing. I've seen it. Oh, they don't throw a punch at all, and it's like, why? Why get this? Why? And it's part of the t-shirt crew. And if you know what I mean, that is like the guys that don't have gear, they wear shirts and stuff like that. And then some people try to say it's a part of their character. And you cannot tell me that your character is just a person that wears a t-shirt with MMA gloves and not even wrestling shoes, just tennis shoes or anything like that. And then y'all want to know what's on that shirt that they wear with this. Like I said, I'm going to say it one more time. It is no shade, but we're gonna be honest here. We have to be honest here. If we're gonna do this, we got to be honest. We have a lot of guys that wear this on their shirt. It's a the Punisher logo, and the Punisher is not really like uh, the logo. Now, I know some good people that wear it on their stuff, their gear, and it's a reason that they wear that and stuff like that. And what they do and how they wrestle, it portrays like a person, that is violent or even somebody that has something that a reason why they act that way. But Usually there was a page on Facebook called Trash Bag Wrestling, and a lot of these Punisher shirts were there. Stop this. I see the new logo and all of this stuff, but you have a lot of people that used to come out and have a Punisher shirt. A Punisher shirt is not gear, not a knee pad, not the elbow pad, not the chest pad. Oh my God, my wife also talked about this. If you're gonna wear this, make sure it looks like gear and stuff like that. Now I understand, like a lot of us guys are very insecure about our gut. I have one. I'm I'm kind of ashamed of it. I know it needs to go away, but I don't I don't wear that. Like I when I had a gut, and then even like my tights wasn't tighting, if that makes sense. I started doing singlets and stuff like that because, and then now I'm trying to take care of myself a little bit better. I'm like lifting and everything like that. I need to eat better because I want to look like a wrestler, and it's starting to become easier to look like one because a lot of us aren't taking care of ourselves. And if we do have that weight or whatever like that, we have to realize we have to carry ourselves right, or you wear it well. And a lot of people don't wear it well, and when you don't wear it well, it's very obvious. Baggy hardy pants, those as well. Baggy pants. I used to have, like I said, I used to have those black and white baggy shorts, like the Usos used to wear. And this was funny because I thought that I would never see those kind of shorts on TV. And then the Usos came in, and they didn't have those at first. They had like regular biker shorts. And then they turned around and then they had baggy shorts. And I was like, oh, I see it. And what we're talking about Elucha. Now, I know a lot of people who have been in the business for a long time get and dabbled in Elucha, me included. Like I said, I bought my pair of shorts from Elucha. I know some of my colleagues, they've also bought things from Elucha as well and stuff like that. It's cheap for what it is. I bought stuff off of eBay, and then I eventually went to custom. I didn't want to do custom, but I needed to because I didn't want to have something that somebody else has. And that's just a part of investing into your character and investing into your gimmick and stuff like that. Like I've changed out gauntlets that I wear. I've changed out my boots. I've changed out color schemes. I've changed out a whole bunch of things because I wanted it to be different than what everybody else was doing and things like that. You have a lot of wrestlers who are like a superhero or something like that against all odds and stuff like that. And then even when wrestlers, when you ask them, like, who are you or what's your promo, a lot of people are saying the gimmick is the underdog and they was counted out and I'm angry and I'm here to show you that, show you guys and everything like that. But then it's just like, what else after that? Everybody is like that. Everybody's an underdog. What are you saying? Like, what makes you interested? And that's the thing when I say, like, some people, it takes them a hard time to explain what kind of character they are because it's a reflection of themselves, but they just have a hard time saying that. So that when you say, oh, this is a reflection of me, you got to make it interesting. See red, interesting. You get what I'm saying? Like the way he carries himself, you don't just say that's just a man that wears red. No, that is see red. You get what I'm saying? That is actors. You see that. You see these guys being a reflection of who they are, and they have emotion to it, and it's an investment. Monster since day one here. And yes, yes, yes. So you have people that invest in who they are and how they perform. I remember, yeah, I don't want to embrace the belly. I don't I don't want to. She's over there. I don't want her to look at me. Use it for heat. And I remember even you, Atlas. I remember there was a promo that you did in PPW. You were going against a lot, and it was one of my favorite promos I've ever seen from anybody, especially in PPW. And I used to talk to you. I was like, man, like that was a good promo. Like, where did you get them? And he said, I used to practice in the mirror, and he said, I used to rap. And we used to that's how I used to practice and I used to get better with the promos and stuff like that, you know. So I was like, oh man, because you were believable. It didn't matter what you had on, it didn't matter. It was what you said was believable. And I believe that a lot of people with characters is they believe it for a little bit, and then as soon as one show nobody picks it up, they go back to what they want to be. It's online. Yeah, it's online. It is. I believe it's on the PPW YouTube channel. I believe. Yeah, I think either that or Facebook. Hey man, it's been a long time. Another great wrestler working the gimmick is Ewok. Ewok is also, and I was going to bring up Ewok. I promise I will. Ewok is a good wrestler who has to catch has to run the fade with me. No barbershop. We're going to try to do that probably by the end of the year. But Ewok is also a good example as a reflection of himself because the way he talks, the way he acts, the way he carries himself, this is a man of many hats. And I've said this before. A lot of people, this man is living his dream. Like even with Jericho, right? Regardless of how you feel about Jericho, Jericho does a lot of things, and he doesn't let anybody say no. He's a performer. He's a wrestler. He's a best-selling author. He does a lot of things, and that's who Ewok reminds me of because of everything he does with the beer pong and with the rap, with the performance, the promos that he do, and everything like that. You know, I have one of my coworkers. He don't like him because of everything he said. And he said like he was like, man, I don't like that dude because we were supposed to do this show last year, but something happened. And when I go to work, I remember my homie, he used to come in. He, man, I don't like him. I don't like Ewok. I don't like him. That means he's doing his job because now he wants to see us go against each other. And when we were talking, it was just like I know that he's one of those guys that give his all in his character, how he comes out, how he presents himself. He comes out to his own music and stuff like that. He invests in himself, and that's just like one of those big things. Some things are hit or miss when you wrestle, when you choose a character. Some things are hit or miss. Some things are not perfect. Something might work for one person, it might not work for you. You know, you see with WWE, a lot of the foreigners they get barefoot gimmicks, you know, or they can't speak English, or they only speak a few words, and usually their move, the finisher is something to do with either a full Nelson or a camel clutch. So like you see, Veer Mahan, I believe that is his name, and then now he has like a version of like the camel clutch or whatever for Dominic. But you see that they do that with like foreigners and stuff like that. But then it's just like you see Walter, well, Gunther now, or Gunter, or however they call it. You see him, and then you just like, man, this dude is just breathing main event. I remember when he stuck out when he was in that Survivor Series match and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, this is how you do it right. You know, you don't have to always have somebody barefoot or whatever like that, anti-American. You can just have just a bully, and he calls himself a ring general. So those are things that I do like in certain aspects with the character and stuff like that because it feels like that's what he is in real life. It seems like he's a butt kicker. You know, one of my favorite MMA fighters is Fedor Emelianenko. He doesn't look like the strongest guy, but he's like one of the best MMA fighters. But he's still believable because of what he does. Like he doesn't look like it, but the way he acts and portrays himself in the ring and stuff like that. You know, it's not always about just being in shape. It's also about selling your appearance as well. You don't sell your appearance, why is that believable? Now we're living at a time where like a lot of matches, the formats of matches are different now. Like smaller guys are picking up bigger guys at a quicker rate than usual, and some aren't even selling it in the match. Like it's like the first move. And I remember we talked about it before. You were saying like it depends on the situation and stuff like that. Oh, my bad. Hit a hiccup, y'all. But going back into it, like being a character, and like I said, with the independent, it's like you have YouTube, you have Google, you have movies, you have a lot of things that you can look in or watch or read or study, and you can be like, oh, okay, well, what can I do to make it myself? Because somebody else may do that same thing. You have a lot of people who are demonic, let's say, or the rebels or anything like that. Like, what is your different? Why are you like this? Maybe the story to why you act like that is what's going to stick than you just going out there and saying that's what you are. Like, why are you different? Like, why are you so angry? Everybody else is angry. Maybe your anger will make me angry. Maybe I don't like that. Like, what sticks? What sticks to the ribs the most? And, you do have a lot of people that wear like the face paint and the evil and all of that, the pentagrams and all that. Not my cup of tea, but you do have people that wear that kind of stuff. But then it's just like, okay, well, what is your character? I am darkness, or the son of darkness, or the prince of darkness, or stuff like that. And it's just like you hear it before. Like, what do you do? Like, I faced a guy named the Inspector Jaden Mercer, and his and he's new in the business too, but his was like a little different. And I'm sure somebody did it before, but his like revolved around a mask and somebody saying 3 words to make him like have a supernatural thing. It's different. And if it is something that somebody did before, he put his own spin to it. And sometimes that'll take work in itself. You know, consistency is also a big thing on which you are developing into your character and stuff like that. Sometimes, like I said, nowadays your character gets you over more than your actual wrestling move. Like it don't even matter legit if you can wrestle. Like sometimes it's just like, oh, I just like how this person is, and this person is awesome. So you know what? Let's just book him. Hey, can he throw a punch? No. What can he do? Oh, well, look how he looks. Legit. I've seen it. I've heard people get booked because of how they look over the actual thing. So that's just some things to think about. Outside of like even the Undertaker before I leave, like even like the Undertaker, like how many characters he went, transformations he did or whatever. The Western Mortician, Ministry of Darkness, uh American Badass, Big Evil, uh, going back to the Dead Man, Phenom, Last Outlaw. Uh he went through a lot. And I felt that he gave his best in all of them. Now, I will say I did not care for the Big Evil the most or whatever, but hey, it is what it is. But I did like even character development with that. That's the Rock and Randy book in psychology. But but like I remember when he was feuding with Kane after he went from the Big Evil to like American Bad, like being back to a good guy. Because Big Evil was after American Badass, but he was being like a good guy, like he gave Jeff Hardy props or whatever like that. And what happened was Kane attacked him, or helped Vince win or whatever. And he was saying the reason why he attacked his brother was because his brother was becoming more human and stuff like that. And when you look at the matches, he was selling more because at first he was this can't feel pain, and then it started catching up to him, and then he started becoming more human and stuff like that. Things like that. Even the storyline of how even Kane came in or whatever like that. It all worked together and stuff like that. But it's like with the character, he had it from the ground up and he made it his own. And then even to have it for so long with wrestling and a lot of people saying that stuff goes stale and stuff like that, he made it work. And that's something that's like a guide to study as well. If you want to study like a mainstream guy on somebody who had like multiple characters, or even like a Cody Rhodes or anything like that, like these guys, they went with something and they ran with it. I mean, you can look at Big Boss Man, right? He was a cop. And then even when he came in, was it the 90s or whatever like that, he had the squat stuff. And he still looked like one. He wrestled and he had the nightstick and stuff like that. Like he sold it very well as him being like, hey, I wrestle, but I'm also a cop and stuff like that. Rest in peace, Big Boss. So it's always about investing, and it's just like you have to invest in it first. Okay, I can give you a suit or something and then expect you, but you also have to invest as if your life depended on it, because at the end of the day it could pay you. You could get paid off of that. People may book you for that, or something is different about you, or they may see the potential in you. Sometimes it's hazing, sometimes it is not. I've seen a whole bunch of things, crazy things in this wrestling world, just to see if somebody really wanted to wrestle. Okay, well, you got to act like this. And some people did it and some people haven't. I've seen people wrestle, practice for 5 minutes and never came back. In fact, so I'm going to head on out. Uh, Thank you, Shy Guy. Thank you, Arshawn. Thank you, Atlas, of course, always Atlas. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate Robert Brown. I appreciate everybody that's going to watch this later. Like I said, I am going to transfer the audio to Podbean. So if you want to listen to it on a car ride or whatever like that, you have that. I appreciate you guys for listening. I'm trying to expand everything. Like I said, I'm learning all of this stuff, right? I should have learned this a year ago, but I am learning. So I'm going to be asking a lot of people around, people who help me with this, like Kevin Yella, more questions on how to do everything, especially with Twitch. I still have stuff with Twitch. So before I go, make sure you guys like the YouTube page for the Take It Home podcast. Also, C3 Ultimate Wrestling YouTube page. Make sure you follow me on Twitch, Classic425. Check out the website, www.c3ultimatewrestling.com. Facebook, Chris Classic Williams. Make sure you guys get ready for June 18th, 2022, Gene Shepherd Community Center, Hammond, Indiana. Doors open 12:30. Showtime 1 o'clock. It will be a good show. I already have things I want to do in the horizon. Thank you guys once again. This is Chris Classic, and let's take it home.